Welcome to the Jones Way Podcast, Episode 3. I'm your host, Lorian Jones.
And I'm your host, Lavert Jones, and this podcast is for entertainment purposes only.
So, of course, we do have two special guests with us today, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves.
Hello, world. My name is Michael Dwayne Henry II. I am a school teacher. I've been a school teacher for the past 3 years. I am now teaching fifth grade math. And I'm also a bivocational pastor. I've been pastoring Arkadelphia Baptist Church for 11 years. And this is my lovely wife.
I am Amanda Nero Henry. I am married to Michael Henry. I am the First Lady of Arkadelphia Baptist Church. I am right now a principal in Jefferson, Texas at the elementary. We have 3 boys together, and that's me.
So, I wanted to bring them on today because, first of all, me and Michael, we're family, Amanda as well. And I look at them, and when I look at them, I see Black excellence. I feel like it is so hard for Black people in the world today. And when I look at you guys, I just feel like you're just Black excellence. I feel like you're raising your children right. You're making a decent living for yourself. And I just feel like y'all just have it going on. So when I look at y'all, that is what I see. And I just love to see our people doing good because as African Americans, sometimes we have it hard in the world. And I don't feel like anybody else understands that as much as we do. And so, like I said, when I look at y'all, I see excellence. And I just want to talk to y'all today about like how you guys met, about being a pastor, how the dynamic of that works with your family, being a first lady and things like that, because I know that it's not easy. Marriage is hard. Trust me, we know. We've been doing it almost 13 years. And so that's just kind of like what we're going to talk about today. So how did y'all meet?
You can go.
Okay. I had just left the military, decided to go back to school, picked up my choir scholarship, went to SAU, and I was rooming with my cousin, Shamika. And Shamika was she was a friend of Amanda's. And that's how we met.
She said, "Girl, this is my cousin." I said, "Oh, he's cute."
That's all I needed.
Yeah.
That's all you need?
That was it.
So when you looked at him, did you think, okay, maybe he might be the one? Or
No.
what did you didn't?
No, he was like 19.
I was
and
young.
I had just graduated. I was about to be a teacher, and he was just starting.
So it's the age difference
Oh,
between
big,
y'all.
yeah.
Oh, what's the
It's not that
age?
big.
It's very big.
What is it? What's the age difference?
It's
Because you
a-
can't tell.
It's almost 5.
Almost 5 years?
Almost 5 years.
Ah, that ain't nothing. My
I'm married
cousin-
a
Our
baby.
dynamic
He-
together
he
is
must-
amazing, though.
Yeah, because I thought maybe 2 years, but 5?
Yeah.
Oh,
I
okay.
married a
So, tell us about dating. How did dating go?
Well, we didn't date much.
Yeah.
Just to be honest with you, when we met, we were, like I said, I was 19. She was 23, going on 24, and we were just friends
Yeah.
for a long time. Now, mind you, I was not a preacher then, and I'm telling you that if you're married, you should not have friends of the opposite sex. But I had a friend, and we were just friends. We were just that. We would call each other every now and then to check on each other. You know, she would say, she would call me by my whole name when she called me. I would never forget. Every now and then she called and say, "What's up, Michael Henry?" And I was like, "What's going on, Nero?" You know, and it's just kind of, you know. And we were really just friends. I mean, you know, I know that the lines sometimes get blurred, but we were really honest friends. You know, we knew
So, how long did y'all do this, just the little friend thing?
Oh, a long
a
time.
long time.
A long time?
See, you were 19, and I don't know. We got married when he was
24.
24. So
y'all were just friends. So, y'all were seeing other people?
Oh, yeah.
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 So,
Because
when
he
did
got
y'all-
married. He got
Yeah,
married.
married.
Okay, so he got married. So, obviously, he got divorced.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so, what moment, like, what happened that
What brought y'all
what
back
brought
together?
y'all back together? Like, Y'all tell it. Come on, Rev, tell it.
Well, I can tell
Because
it.
our story is similar,
I can
except
tell
for
it.
you
Really?
know,
I-
being
I-
married.
Yeah.
You
I'd
can
rather-
tell it. I'll chime in.
Okay, so granted, we were friends. You
Yeah.
know, we talked to each other about everything.
Yeah, our relationship.
And she was having a birthday party for her boyfriend.
Yeah.
And she invited me to the party
For her boyfriend.
for her
Because
boyfriend.
he was,
we were friends.
yeah, I
Okay.
didn't.
Yeah,
I'm not
mean,
saying that. Y'all was
honest,
cool.
we
Yeah.
were friends. We were cool.
I
you
was
know.
trying to hook him up with somebody else.
Yeah, she
Really?
was.
Yes, I was.
How did you feel about that? Did
He
you kind
came-
of like her though?
I mean, she was all right, but
She was
look.
No, I'm
Cute.
talking about Amanda when she was trying to. hook you
No,
up
I'm
with somebody
serious.
else.
We
Did
were.
You,
We
you
were.
just looked at her as a friend.
We
Yeah.
were friends.
Okay.
I mean, I am not sugarcoating it when I say
Okay.
there was no real romantic interest. That
Right.
we were really just good friends. Yeah.
So that didn't work out with hooking you up with the friend. That was a no go.
No, we wouldn't.
Okay.
We wouldn't.
So how did we get to the? Y'all got married. How did we get to
Well,
that?
I tell you, I was single. I had been single for a while because after my
Yeah.
divorce, I really did some soul searching. I was like, I don't want to do this again. You know, I don't like being hurt. I don't know how people get married 4 or 5 times.
Right,
I
right.
said the next person I get married to, the only way we gonna break up is somebody got to die.
Oh,
I mean, seriously, I'm like, you know, either she got to die or I got to
you gotta
die.
die.
You
Okay.
know, and so I really took my time. And I went through a no nonsense period. Like I would go on dates, and if I felt like she reminded me of my ex-wife, I'd cut it off.
that was it.
You know, or if I saw that this wasn't going anywhere, I wouldn't waste time.
So
I
you
just-
paid attention to red flags.
Oh, yeah.
And y'all know that a lot of us don't pay attention to red flags. We just go past the red flags
Right.
and keep moving.
Yeah,
so
we get blind about
yeah,
stuff
right.
that keep us from
Okay.
ignoring
Right.
the flag.
so you went through the no nonsense.
I
period
kept
and then-
and I kept a lot of that out of my relationships. Like I knew that if I was going to think straight, then I had to use this head
and not the other.
and not the other one.
Right.
I was really on a mission
Okay.
to find my next wife.
Okay, so you was on a mission to find her. Okay. Okay, so after you went through that period, what happened?
Well, we were both single,
Uh-huh.
and I just decided to ask her. You know, I think one day she asked me-
My ex boy, I'm gonna tell you, my
Okay.
ex boyfriend. Well, he was my boyfriend at the time. He was upset that I invited Michael to the party, even though he knew he was coming. Because I mean, I didn't. We were not. Michael was young and I was older, and I was like, I'm gonna start
You're
my
just a
life.
friend.
Yeah, but he knew we had a interest, like when I first met him. But it was nothing. I just
that.
didn't want, right. It was nothing like
Right,
that.
right.
So we broke up, and I would call Michael, and I was like, "Oh, you don't love me, you know." And Henry was there, like he was like, "Oh, I don't know why you don't, girl. You know, you're a good woman, you know." I'm like, "Am I?"
Right.
You know, he just he eating it up.
So when you figured out she was a good woman,
Yeah.
did the wheels in your head start to turn and think, well, maybe I need to
I actually
Lock her
got
down?
I actually got scared.
really?
Yeah, I always felt like, you know, this moment would come, but I didn't really anticipate it coming. And when it actually came, I was afraid, and I really kind of started running. And what happened was she was at that point where she ain't got time for no mess.
Right.
And so she was like, he don't want nothing. You know, I'm done with him. And I started praying, and the Lord was like, you better go get her.
Okay. So
Because when I was having problems with my ex, he was there. You know what I mean? Like he was always there. So like I would say, maybe like that February, I think he bought me a bear. I was down because me and my ex, we had been together for a while, and he came over, and I was like, oh, that's a nice bear. I didn't care for that bear.
So tell me, when did you know that she was the one?
Well, I didn't really know she was the one until after we got married. Now, let's
That
just,
sound
let's
bad,
just be
doesn't it?
real. Let's just be real.
Okay.
I mean, our dating period was really short.
Okay.
I mean, we already knew each other, you know, pretty
years.
well. I mean, and we dated maybe 3
months.
3 months, 4
So
months,
y'all dated for 3 months and then y'all got married?
and we got married.
But
Did
can
y'all
I-
sleep together before y'all got married?
Um,
I mean, that's just real.
When he was
Yeah.
19.
Okay.
19.
yeah.
But let me go back to you. You spoke to the fear. Was it a fear of losing a friend? If was it a fear of her shooting you down and you possibly losing a friend or overstepping your boundary that kept you from pursuing?
I was
Or-
protecting my heart. I was afraid that this wasn't gonna work, and that first marriage, it took a lot out of me. I mean, I was 240, and then I got down to like 170 pounds. I lost weight. You know, it was just. It was rough trying to get back on, where I was, and I was not going to let that happen to me again. So
Yeah, the only reason I ask because you see it a lot. We talk to a lot of single people, and it's more so today that it's a lot of people in the friend zone.
yeah,
And especially guys, the girls put them in the friend zone, but the guy kind of secretly has a thing for the girl, but don't really want to push it in fear of her. Oh, no, you on some other.
Yeah.
Now you done lost a friend. So that's why I was asking, was it more of that or?
no, it was. I was really protecting my heart. I knew that she was a good woman. I was afraid that it wasn't going to work.
So, like, I feel like people should do that when they come out of relationships. When I was younger, the way I got over something was hooking up with somebody else. That was when I was in my 20s. And so a lot of the controversy that we talk about, because I asked, did y'all sleep together before? My husband, if I could go back and redo everything over again, I probably would wait. But that's not how it goes.
Yeah.
And so my husband feels like you should do everything before you get married. I don't agree with that because
Not
most of the
necessarily
guests
everything.
but when it comes
I do think that excuse me. I do think that if you're in a serious relationship, y'all should at least know what it's like to live with each other for.
babe, but that's shaking.
I understand, and I understand.
We have this debate all the time.
I do understand, but like I keep saying, you want to know what you getting into before you just.
So if you
take
do
that
stuff
dive, 'cause
decent
you don't
in
know-
order. So let me ask this question. So as a pastor, do you feel like if you do things decent in order, if I date this man, do the right stuff, don't sleep with him, I may go off and spend the night. Don't sleep with him. I may spend the night. Because I feel like the shacking is not the bad part. It's the sleeping together, out of wedlock. I feel like that's what the issue is. So if I do everything decent and in order and I don't sleep with this man, we do everything we're supposed to do, and then I marry him, I feel like God is going to work that out for us. But Laverne feel like you need to sleep with the person because what if you marry him and you sleep with him and then it's not what it's supposed to be?
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
Here's the thing.
That's the thing.
Here's the thing when it comes to marriage. Now we understand that marriage is sanctioned by God.
Right.
And so, when he puts something together and it's designed by him, it's supposed to work.
Right.
Now you can't go into a marriage, a spiritual union with the physical mindset because physically
That's what
it doesn't make sense.
Come on, Rev. Tell my husband.
Why marry somebody you ain't never lived with, sleep with somebody you never slept with? How do you know it's going to work out? Well, if it's done according to the way God has designed it, meaning that you are as honest as possible throughout the dating phases. Now, granted, we hide stuff from people we dating.
We do.
We hide stuff.
Yeah.
We
Curtain
do
up.
not tell the whole truth.
We do.
And when we get married, that's when you find out who
The
you
truth.
really.
Who you married to.
That's what I'm saying.
And so-
I understand what you said. You can have all. You can follow all, you as you can follow. I'm just saying you can follow all the godly rules that he set up, like you just said.
Right.
Babe.
But that don't necessarily mean the other person is doing the same.
Well, that's where the disconnect shows up.
That's right.
And so
Exactly. But until you with them for a continuous amount of time, it shows
but
that
you-
I can pretend to be holy, go to church with you,
Yeah.
do all this and the other, but my end goal is one thing.
But see, that's where the spirituality comes in, and he gifts us with discernment, and so when you're connected to God, you know who's with you and who's not.
They show you
And
the
that
red
is so,
flag.
Look,
yes,
you
that
have
is
to
so,
listen.
that's hard
Listen,
to do.
I'm telling
Yeah, it
you,
is.
when I tell you, I can't doubt him because I know too much about him. Look here, this is not something that I heard. This is something that I know. And God has a way of orchestrating experiences that will reveal who's supposed to be with you and who's not. And he will show you. I'm telling you.
Because sometimes we see what we want to see.
You're right. And so I feel like where I am now in my growth at 41, if I knew then what I knew now, I probably would have. Because, like, me and Laverne, when we hooked up, I wasn't hooking up with him for him to be my man. I was hooking up with him to have a good time because I had just gotten out of a bad relationship, an abusive relationship. So, like, he came through and kind of did his little 1, 2, all he was supposed to do. And so that's how we ended up getting together. But, like, at 20, I was probably 21 or whatever. So I was raised up in the church. I went to church every Sunday with my mom and dad. And my dad was a deacon. All of that. I came up in church. But when I got out there and became an adult, like at that point when I hooked up with him, I was trying to have a good time.
Yeah.
We hooked up on the first night, baby. And we had a good time. And then we stayed together for like a year and a half. We broke up, we got back together, and then stuff just kind of worked itself out. But if I had to do it all over again, knowing what I know now, of course I would like to do it in order. And that's what a lot of the women that I talk to and a lot of the men that we talk to, it's like they can't wait.
Now, let me mind you now. This is why I love God so much. Even though we mess up, he does clean up our messes.
He do.
Now, you know, you take David, for instance. He wasn't supposed to be with Bathsheba.
No, he was
you
not.
know, but what came out of it? When they got married, King Solomon, one of the wisest people in the Bible. So he does clean up our messes. We do mess up sometimes. And, you know, like even with me and her, you know, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that everything that we did was according to his plan.
But you learn.
But you learn, you know.
So tell me this, Amanda. So when y'all got married, he was already preaching. How did you feel about that? Did you have to work on some things to get in a line with him? Or do you feel like y'all just got married and it just kind of worked?
It was hard. It was hard.
Was it very hard?
Yeah, he was at a different church. I was at the Baptist church, and he was at a different church, and I was a musician. And so I was like, I'm not going to that church. I'm sorry. We talked about it. We talked about it though before we quickly got married, and then I don't know. I let him tell that part, but I just think that we talked about it, and he eventually came with me where I was. Really, it was a reason why.
It wasn't that Okay.
Yeah, you
okay. So, and this was God. This was God. I believe that God was taking me somewhere different, and I couldn't go there being where I was, and so I had to be wise enough to listen to His voice, and the direction that He took me. We came to the conclusion, okay, you leave your church, I leave my church. We search for a place together.
We did, that's right.
And that's what we did. And the Lord led us to Prosperity Baptist Church in New Boston. Right. And we both joined right after we had gotten married. Yeah. I became associate minister there. I really and truly, I initially quit preaching. Yeah. And a lot of people don't know that. I had gotten so down. Because I wasn't good at it.
But you can't run from God, though. When God got His hand on you,
and that's it. See, there are a lot of people who say they've been called to preach. They say they're running, but they hadn't been called. Because if you're running, you can't run long. And I'm telling you, it was like I don't know how them folks down there in New Boston found out I was a preacher, but my wife would tell you I started putting my blue jeans and my t-shirts back on. I put my earrings back in my ear, and I'm going to church like this. And before I know it, one of the preachers said, "Aren't you a preacher?" And I'm looking around. I'm like, "How you know I'm a preacher?" And before you knew it, I was getting opportunities.
So Amanda, tell me this. So when you guys got married, I kind of get from you that you're independent. Is that true? You are. And I feel like when y'all got married, was it a struggle for you to allow your husband to lead you?
Tell it.
Because that was a struggle for
Tell
me.
It.
That was a struggle, for me. Yeah. And so I've learned to do that. And sometimes I take off. Yeah. Sometimes. Yeah. But was that a struggle for you?
Oh, yeah. A huge struggle. Because when we got married, I had bought my first home. I was on my first own car, SUV by myself.
Uh-huh.
You know, I was independent. And I knew when we got married, it was going to be a little different. He had a
Right.
son.
Right.
And I had to adjust. And
To that.
I did. Our finances were not the same. You know, I made more than him. And we had to work that out. That was hard. That was hard.
So what made you put your guard down and allow your husband to lead you?
It took time.
Time.
Yeah.
Did you take
it,
prayer? Did you have to
It
pray?
took a lot of that, a lot of prayer. Because I remember times where I wouldn't even ask him because I was like, I'll figure it out. I'm not gonna ask him. I don't need him. I did it by myself.
But that's
And
your
he told me,
husband.
he said, I'm your husband.
Right.
You supposed to ask me to help you.
Right.
And I didn't want him to know that I needed help because I
And you were
had it.
married to this man?
And we were married.
Baby, listen, when anything go wrong, the first person I'm calling is my husband.
Yeah,
If my husband can't fix it, then I'm gonna call my mama.
But see,
now.
I call my mama with
Yeah,
that
but see, but since when I got married,
Yeah.
no matter how good or bad we were doing, like the only time I ever would go to my mama was to vent. So like my mama, she's one of them kind of mamas. She gonna tell you right is right and wrong is wrong.
Right.
If I tell her something about me and my husband, she not gonna treat my husband no different
Yeah.
than what she normally treats him. She treats him like a son.
Yeah.
So like if it's a problem going on, my husband gonna know it.
Yeah.
Because my attitude is gonna be different. Everything is gonna be different, and I
Yeah.
want him to fix it.
Right.
If I can't fix it, I feel like he should be able to fix it.
Yeah. And
So-
see, I had to be careful about
Yeah.
that because I would tell my mama.
Yeah.
And they be mad at him. And I'd be like,
Right,
I can't be
right,
telling them.
right.
Because I still was married to him. I still love him. And
Right.
they
And
still mad
don't-
at it.
yeah.
No. But I had to
and that's
learn
how
that.
family is like that. But my parents, luckily, are not like that because see, my parents know me.
Yeah.
They know how I am
Yeah.
too, and so they don't do that. And most of the time, my mama be on Laver's side a lot of times because I be having to tell her, "You
Oh,
need
you're
to
right.
remember, I'm your daughter.
Right.
I'm your daughter."
Yeah.
But I
Yeah,
mean, that's hard. But I was independent, but to a certain extent, there's some
Yeah.
stuff I don't feel like I should have to do.
Yeah.
And like when it comes to the finances and stuff like that, I don't mind helping. I don't mind paying bills. I don't mind doing all of that. But like, it's some stuff I don't feel like I should have to do, like washing my car, cutting the grass, stuff like that.
Yeah.
That type of stuff I don't feel like I should
See,
have to
we
do.
were raised. We did that. We
cut grass?
Yeah, we did gardens, grass. We were outside. I mean, we were like little tomboys. Our
Really?
dad raised us like that, so I feel like I didn't need a man.
So when did you realize you needed him?
When he got on to me really good
About
about
it?
it. It took time.
So
But
now let me ask you this: do you ever have to kind of go to the Bible and bring stuff to her attention when you talking to her about certain things?
he did in the beginning. quite a
No,
bit. In the beginning. he did.
I've never really felt like I needed to do that.
do that?
Because it took time for her to trust me,
Uh-huh.
and in trusting me, I had to show up and be consistent.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we were first married, you know, and we were going through our little issues, you
Mm-hmm.
know, I had to be very wise in what I did and how I responded because I knew that marriage is learning.
It is.
You know, everything, learning how to live together, learning, you know, how to satisfy each other's needs, learning how to just coexist. You know, it was all a learning process. And I knew that with time and with God's help, it would come.
So the first how many years do you feel like was the hardest?
First
of
3
marriage?
years.
The first three, because people always say the
first 3
first
years.
year. I'm like, nah, the first 1 to 5 for me.
Yeah.
But you feel like the first
First
three?
3 years was, like those first 3 years, we were questioning what we had gotten ourselves into.
Did y'all do marriage counseling before y'all got married?
We did not do official marriage counseling.
Y'all didn't.
No.
Me and Lavert did. How many sessions did we do? Was it 1 or 2?
2.
We did maybe 2. And the biggest thing I wanted him to realize when we did marriage counseling was that your wife come first. And
Yeah, because my grandmother raised me. I grew up here in Tuscany, but you know, and my grandmother raised me. So pretty much in the beginning, my grandmother was my world.
Yeah.
My grandmother, and my mother. So if they call me, no matter what I'm doing, I'm gone.
Yeah.
for me,
Yeah.
Like if my grandma, I'm living in Magnolia at the time. My grandma said, "Well, I need you to come down here this weekend. 'Cause I need help with this, that, and the other." I'm gone for the whole weekend until
Y'all
we
were
get-
married?
no, we was
We
living
were
together.
just living together
Oh, okay. We was living
until my grandmother said, "Okay, I'm done." Then I'll come.
Yeah.
Other than that, it wasn't no
It
me.
wasn't no give on it.
No, it
Yeah.
wasn't
Really?
no. Well, let's talk about it. No,
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
My mother, because I call my grandma mother.
Yeah.
My mama need me.
Yeah.
I'm out. Period.
How'd you deal with that?
It ain't no.
How'd you deal?
So for me, that was a problem.
Yeah.
And so I feel like I'm never going to put you in a situation where you have to choose between your mom, your grandmother, or any of that. But just give me the respect. So like if our grass at home need cutting, I don't expect for you to go cut your grandma grass and then our grass get cut last. You need to take care of our household because nobody else comes before my husband. Nobody. My mother, my father, nobody. I don't put nobody before him. I don't even put my son before him. But people take that, I feel like, out of context. Like, that's, for instance, like if I cook, you know my son gonna get full before me and Laverne get full because that's the type of father that he is. So I feel like people take that stuff out of context. Like me saying that my husband came before my dad, but my husband helped me take care of my daddy up until my daddy passed away. Just like my mother. I feel like my husband loves my mother just as much as I love my mother. So we don't put each other in those situations. And so I feel like people take that out of context. So even since we've been married, like, I don't make him choose between me and his grandmother. Like if his grandmother calls, he's free to go. But like just give me that respect. Like if I need you to do something or if something needs to be done at our household, you respect me enough to do that. We'll take care of us first and then we'll take care of them. And so that was something
That's something I had to learn because
how to do.
For the longest, it was just me and my grandma. And then me, my mom, and my grandma. So I was the man basically of two houses because they both single. So I was a protector of two women that one bore me and the other one raised me. So it's like, okay, now I'm the protector. So now I'm just bouncing back and forth. And now enter my girlfriend, now wife. Now it's three women now I have to, who takes priority?
Yeah.
I know we live together.
Right.
But this woman raised me.
Right.
I call her mama. So it's kind of like.
Did that stress you?
Yeah. It did. Once me and her sat down and talked about it, and
we went through the counseling.
We went to the counseling. And I sit down. I had a conversation with my grandmother, my mother. I'm like, it ain't gonna be like that no more. So. And
I didn't have to have that.
And we've been.
But
That's
and
good.
it's like I know sometimes it sounds bad, but it's like I never make him choose. Like you never have to choose between me and your family. Just like I never had to choose between him and my family. So I just feel like that's an understanding that we had to. Cause like I remember one time he left me Valentine's Day. Baby, you got me a little baby bear. At least you could have got a big one. You got a little card and you got a little box of candy. And baby, you flew to Texarkana to be with your grandma.
About that.
But you
Yes,
know
he
that
did.
that requires, and like he said, it a lot of people don't realize it requires growth.
It does.
Men have to grow to that point.
And he did. Laverne and I have kind of grown up together because when we got married, he was a man, but like now he's a man now.
Right.
Like we kind of grew up together.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like it's been a journey and it's been a struggle, but I feel like it was worth the journey. I feel like he worth it a little bit.
Yeah.
And so that's just,
Yeah.
we've had some struggles and so that's just kind of, how it goes. So next
That's how it
summer-
was with me. I'm sorry.
y'all too? Go ahead.
Yeah, because when we got married, I had the house and the car. Well, he didn't know much about credit. And we had
So
to.
y'all had to work on that.
Oh yeah, we had
Had
to
to
work
grow.
on it. Yeah, I had to. Yeah, like when I met him, he
Sound
was
like us.
Yeah, he was a boy, but now he a whole man.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
And
had
it's
to work on
amazing to
that.
watch them grow
now,
because
can I talk to the camera just for a moment?
Go talk to the camera.
Look here. Now look. Everybody can't do that. Everybody is not designed
to do that.
for that. So don't think you can just take a man, clean him up, treat him
Yeah,
right, and he
don't
gonna
do-
grow
But
into the
now,
person you want him
right.
to.
But do you feel like age matters? Like because y'all started young, Laverne and I, we were in our early 20s. We started young. So I feel like women in their 20s, you have more patience with the man that you see potential in. Do you feel like that plays a part?
I don't think today's women do that. Y'all, I think our generation is the last generation to look at that. I don't see most women nowadays. It's if he's not already a millionaire, I'm not trying to build with somebody. He already got to have it.
So did you see potential in Michael?
I did.
So that's what I'm
did.
saying. It's like women now, they don't see
They want it quick.
potential.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Want it
they
now.
don't want to go through no struggle.
First date, you got to be able to help me pay my
Right.
phone bill. You got to take me to the most expensive restaurant. I don't even know you yet, but it's 15,000 requirements
That-
of me that's needed just for us to go on the first date. And then if I don't do it, then I'm broke.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm not a man.
I think
I'm cool.
all of that is, and you know, and I preached and taught about this. The responsibility of teaching in the home has been neglected, and that's why we have the generation that we do, growing up the way they are.
That's true.
Because social media has really taken the place of teaching. And so,
That's
you know,
true.
instead of us teaching our children how to act in public, how to act at school, how to respect adults, you know, they're learning all of this from social media.
Miss
So,
Rachel raising the babies, not us.
yeah, so a lot of the stuff that you're seeing is just a product of what they're being raised by. And so the reason why the generation is the way it is because of what they see. A lot of them are being influenced by television, especially the real life TV shows and stuff.
Yeah, housewives.
Reality TV.
All of
Yeah,
that is
reality TV.
influencing our young people, and that's why they are. They
I
still
agree.
need to be taught because
Right.
women have to know they have to learn what to look for in a man.
They do.
Men have to learn, you know, boys have to learn how to be men, and that's a struggle
look
when
for
you
in a
don't have
woman.
anybody teaching you in the household. You know, that's one reason why I left the paper mill and became a school teacher.
How long did
because
you work at the paper mill?
11 years. I was an assistant operator, and I was making good
Good
money.
money. I know it. That money be
money.
good.
Now,
dog.
look here. Now, I wasn't making Lavert Jones money, but I was.
You was
But
making
I was,
some good money.
I was,
though.
I was in the ballpark.
Yeah.
You know, I was making some good money, and the Lord told me it was time to go.
And you listen.
And I listened. It took me some time to convince my wife because she was like, he ain't told me nothing.
Yeah, the Lord ain't told me nothing.
Well, so when he made that decision, you had to kind of, it took you some time to get on board.
Yes, I was
But
used
you're
to
an
going.
educator, and you didn't want him to be an educator?
No, he made money at the paper mill. I couldn't go to dealers every weekend. I
Yeah.
couldn't go out every like I used to.
So here's the thing. How many hours were you working?
I
Ooh,
was
we hardly ever saw him.
Yeah, it was 40 hours a week.
I
That's
felt
out
like
the
a
window.
single mama.
When Lavert worked
Yeah.
at the chemical plant, sometimes he would work 12 hours.
Yeah.
Sometimes he would work 16 hours.
16
And
to
if I'm
18.
just out spending the money and he just out working, like that's no fun to
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
Because I make money too. So he don't have to bring all of the money. And I know the man is supposed to be the provider and all of that, but like I contribute too because I feel like I'm a boss. So I'm gonna,
Yeah.
contribute to my household too. And so, because when we
funny.
get into it, I can't say that if I'm not doing it. So I be having to let him know I do so and so and so and so too. But like to me, sometimes it's not even worth it. And yeah, you miss the money because Lavert often talks about the money that he made when he was working at that chemical plant. But like I feel like the time spent is more important, especially when it comes to raising your children. And y'all got
Boys.
sons, y'all have
Yeah.
boys, and so like Lavert. He doesn't miss a football game. He didn't miss any pee-wee
Only
practices.
time I
He
missed
would
a
come out
football
there in his
game, I
work
was on
truck.
call.
He would be
I
on
couldn't leave
call,
the
and on the way
city.
from the call, he would stop by the
Yeah.
field to, come and check on him. So it's like the money and all of that is good, but like the time spent with your kid, because that's what my son said. We spend a ton of money on him, but he says the time is more important than the money. We'll always remember the money that we spend on that boy, but he's gonna remember,
remember the
the time,
time. That's
that
right.
Lavert, spent with him. So when he stopped working there, I was okay with that. I
Yeah.
just, brought what I could bring to the table, and it just kind of it worked out. And
Yeah.
so, money is not everything, and so sometimes we get caught up in that because I used to feel like I used to have the latest handbags and all of that, and that stuff. I'm selling stuff out of my closet still now to this day because I don't need all of that now.
Yeah.
I feel like
It's more simpler.
Yeah, the growth.
You realize it's funny. You I look back at my grandfather and just listen to stuff he used to tell me.
Yeah.
and it's finally starting to
Make sense.
make sense.
Yeah.
Just
And
click.
and I'll honestly, Lavert spends probably more money than I do.
Really?
Yeah.
I got a lot of hobbies.
He spends more
I can
money.
see that.
I've learned
I'm
to.
with you, man.
Yeah, I've learned to manage and do better. So tell me this: did y'all talk about kids before y'all got married?
Yeah, that was one of the main things we talked about because as silly as it sounds, I had a child, but I didn't want a woman with kids. And
That's understandable.
I just to be honest with you, I knew what it was like dealing with my ex-wife, and I didn't want to deal with her ex-husband or ex-boyfriend or baby daddy.
So would that have been a deal breaker for you?
It would have.
It would have been.
Yeah.
Even if she your person,
Well,
because she your person.
I say that, you know, but we all know that when God speaks, things
have to
change.
listen.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. So, but I was specific in my prayer, and while I was praying for her, she was praying for me, and I would tell you, she was what I asked for, and she tells me I was what she asked for.
Okay. So what direction would you have gone in? So y'all got married, you were already preaching, and you had stopped preaching. So when you started back preaching, what if Amanda would have said to you, well, Michael, I don't want to be a first lady? What direction would you have gone in then?
Well, it's a calling. And so, she'd have had that choice to stay at home if that was her business, but
You would have been okay with her staying at
I
home?
would have had to be. I can't make her go.
Right, you can't.
And I'm not going to divorce her just because she
Because-
doesn't want to be a part of that aspect of my life. But that's why, that's why it's so important, for God to be a part of the plan. Or let me backtrack, for you to remember that you're a part of his plan, because Romans 8:28, all things work together to get to them that love God and called according to his purpose. I know I was called. And so everything he added to my life just worked for my good. So when he added her to my life, it just worked, and that's what I try to stress with people when they're in a hurry to get somewhere, or they want this right now and they want that. If you just wait and trust God, whatever he adds, it's going to work. There's no struggle. There's no frustration when it comes to his blessing, And so when he added her, it just worked. I mean, it was like she loved church. I loved church. She loved God. I loved God. And so, it was just a perfect fit. That was no, I'm leaving you at the house. I'm going with you.
Yeah, because don't be letting your man go by himself. Cause
what you call them?
Barracudas.
Look, that would be after your man, honey. They love a preacher.
Yes, they do.
The skirts on the front row just keep getting short.
So you have to, you have to. And I know that like when you're married to a pastor, like they have to go and they do a lot. They have a lot on their plate. So I'm sure you have to go to other churches and you have to preach and you have to keep check on what you have going on with your congregation. You're sick and shit in. If you got a member that's in the hospital or need prayer, it's like a never ending thing. Is that how that works?
Yeah, but you have to have some type of you have to have some stability, and I'm on a schedule. My hierarchy is God first, then family, then the church. And because I'm bivocational, I have to stick to that because I dedicate 40 plus hours to my secular job.
You do.
And I have to spend time with my family.
You do.
And I'm not going to sacrifice my family
That's right.
for the church, and that I know that some people may disagree with that, but it's the only reason why I stay sane is because of that stability. God first, my family. I'm not going to miss a ball game. I'm not going to miss time with my kids. Now, when it comes to God and the church, church is important. And so if there's practice on Wednesday night and we got Bible study, we're going to Bible study, and coaches know that.
Okay.
If there's a game on Sunday, we're going to miss that game because God comes first. But if there's something going on with my kids, the church has to take a back seat to that.
To that.
And they understand
And
that.
you're not wrong in my eyes. You're not wrong when it comes to
right.
that. So Amanda, do you feel like you have to share your husband a lot?
Not really.
Not really.
No, not really.
And you probably feel like that because he has the balance.
Yes.
So like, 'cause
Yeah.
most of the time, like y'all are together. Like
Yeah.
when I see one, I see the other. So
Yeah.
I feel like that you do balance that good. I see y'all be taking trips.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I see y'all doing stuff all the time, and so I just know, that is a lot to do, like trying to keep your family together, then your church family, then you got to work. That comes with a lot of responsibility. I feel like pastors are put up on this pedestal. I feel like they're put so high up that it's like they're not supposed to sin, they're supposed to be perfect. And I feel like when they do anything, big or small, it's like it's the ultimate worst. And I hate that our society, our people are the ones that do that to the pastor. Like, he's human. So like, he's not sin free. Like, he's going to make errors. He is going to make mistakes. So do you feel like society, period, people in general, have y'all so high up sometimes that it's hard to make any sort of mistake?
Well, it's not so much society that has us on that pedestal. It's the it's what we're carrying that deserves that pedestal. And the reason why I say that is because the Word of God is strong enough that it stands alone. But our ministry, the word that we give, our preaching is only as strong and valid as our character. And in order to be an effective preacher, you have to be a person of high moral standards. Now, when you teach and preach sin, understand that you understand where sin comes from. And so in the eyes of society, it looks like a mistake. And in the eyes of the preacher, he knows it's not a mistake. He made a bad decision. And so that's you have to look at it like that, because as a pastor, as a shepherd, you have to make better decisions. And so it's not so much society holding me to that standard. I hold myself to that standard because I don't need you talking about nothing I got going on. And if you're talking about what I got going on and it's bad, either it's a lie. You see what I'm saying? Because, at the end of the day, I need you speaking well of me.
Right.
And in order for my word to be effective wherever I go, it can't be tainted by my inability to make good decisions.
It's true. Your last name is very important. I tell Lennon that all the time.
That's
Man,
right.
I
Your
work so
name
hard
is very important.
to
Yeah,
develop
that is
that
right.
name, and so I don't need my name tied to anything. I mean, granted, people mess up all the time. They do, but you have to remember that mistakes are mistakes. Bad decisions can be avoided. And when it comes to sin is when you know to do good, but you do it not.
So
I
Amanda,
know this wrong, but
do you feel like that you were like held to like the same standard as your husband? Do you feel like people hold y'all to the same? Like, your husband is the pastor. You're not the pastor.
Yeah.
So why do people hold you to that same? Because like, he's the leader. They following him.
Yeah.
They're not following you. So why do you feel like they hold her to the same standard as they do you? You the pastor.
Because there's one.
Yeah, I guess.
Is that why?
Because
I
when
guess.
you see him, she is a representation of
She
him.
is.
So the way she carries herself outside the church still has a reflection on him.
Oh, it speaks volumes.
Yeah.
So the way you talk, the way you dress, how you communicate with other people, how you treat people,
Right, right.
it shows him. It's, well, we was at such and such restaurant and she was just trash talking the waiter, calling him everything but a child of God.
Yeah.
Well, dog, is
So
they
does
like
him-
that?
So does that make you be mindful of everything that you do? Are you always mindful, or do you have to sometimes remind yourself?
No, I'm just mindful.
You're just mindful because
I
you
don't
know-
want people to think bad of
Right,
him,
right,
of us.
right.
And so I have to be,
Mindful.
I know I work in a job that makes me want to go off
Right,
and act
right,
up, but I got to remember that
right.
that's not Christ-like, and how would that look for us? So I remember when we first went to Prosperity, the ladies were telling me I need to wear a long dress and and try to wear it.
No, ma'am, because you be cute every time I ever see you. And whoever said that, no, ma'am, because you look the part.
I remember that. I was like, yeah, I'm not doing that.
Really?
Anyway. Yeah, I
You
mean,
were
they were
always-
older. They were older though. But
Yeah.
that's how you're
Traditional.
supposed to look
Yeah, it
with
is.
pantyhose. And, yeah, I'm not doing that.
She did ask me though.
Yeah,
She did.
I
yeah,
did.
and I said, baby, you don't have to do all that.
Right.
Because if he would have told
Yeah.
me,
You
I
probably
Amanda,
would've- you would've
I
done
would
it.
have. Yeah, if he would have said, Amanda, you might want to do that. I wouldn't want to, but
She
I
would have
do.
scowled every time, but
I would've
she
did it.
Would've done it.
Yeah.
So that's good. So I'm just so I like to see because you following your man and he leading you and all of that good stuff because that's hard to do sometimes.
It is.
Like it is. It was really a struggle for me.
Yeah.
I mean, but would you admit that I am better than what I used to be?
Yeah, you are.
But I feel like it's a
I
but.
still have to pull the reins in every now and then. You still try to get out there in up front sometimes.
Well, I mean, I feel like our wives do that at some point sometimes and not
That's true.
without meaning to do it. Do
what
you
does she feel like
that?
she needs
But
to
it's
be?
just,
What
but
does she feel like she
if
needs
you
to
know
do?
their family dynamic,
Yeah.
then it's par for the course. I mean,
Yeah.
her father was the head of the house,
That's right.
but the mother her mama ran the house.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
Oh, okay.
that's
She
so
handled the finances.
she grew up. She grew up with that.
Oh,
Yeah.
She watched her mother for 30 something plus
55. My parents were married 55 years.
So that's instilled in her.
Yeah.
I'm not your daddy.
Yeah. Right.
I wasn't raised the same
Yeah, right,
as
Well, you ain't have to say
we
it like
got.
that.
I'm just saying. You know, the way he might have handled something is
Right.
not the way I might
Yeah.
handle
Yeah.
something. I wasn't
Right.
raised the way he was raised. My grandmother taught me a different way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, our ways might not, they might not mesh,
Yeah.
but we gonna bring them together until they finally
Yeah.
meet up.
But that's
We gonna
strength
operate
and
off
weaknesses. You know, you
yeah,
look at
she compliment me very well.
Yeah.
Where I'm weak at, she's strong in, and
That's
it's
good.
vice versa.
That's
So
good.
but where you're strong and weak is not the same as Uncle Simon.
No, because my mother just pretty much ran the household.
Yeah.
My dad provided the finances.
Yeah.
My mother contributed too, but it was kind of like my mama kind of like what she say go, and my daddy really didn't book her on it
Yeah.
because he was cool with that.
Right.
But see, my dad was he was spoiled. My grandmother had him very spoiled, and so he didn't really have to do much because your grandmother used to talk about that all of the
Yeah.
time, and so my grandmother had him spoiled, and so my mom. The dynamic of our household, she ran the household. My daddy brought that money home, baby.
Yeah.
And that's
Really?
just what that was. Yeah. Uh-huh.
yeah, see, my grandma was talking about
how.
no woman need to know what a man got in his bank
see,
account.
we-
That's how I was raised.
But babe,
So-
that's not. I don't feel like we're married, so,
So
I
me
feel like
handing
I
over
should know.
handing over my paycheck.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. That's
I
not
mean,
that.
but you have to do
No.
what works. So, like, if we were married
That's
and I
it.
wasn't a good money manager, I wouldn't have
Right.
a problem with him managing
Yeah.
the money. But because we don't have that problem, we don't have that issue when it comes to finances. But
The household
whoever
come
is
first.
better,
That come-
whoever is better at doing whatever, I don't have a problem with that. So,
Household, child,
Yeah.
whatever whatever
Yeah.
left,
Yeah.
go do what you're gonna do.
Yeah.
but old school, my
But
mom
we're
and
gonna
them,
take care of
baby,
business first.
Yeah.
That was old school.
Yeah.
So Amanda, when is Michael's birthday?
1783.
When is her birthday?
3279.
When is your anniversary?
August the 2nd.
Okay, what's her favorite color?
Her favorite color? You know what? I don't think she has a favorite color. She likes blue, and she also likes purple. No, that's my mama's favorite.
Yeah,
color.
that's your mama's, not me.
Yeah, she doesn't really have a favorite color.
don't have a
She
favorite
likes
color?
black.
Yeah. She
I
like
know
black?
she likes black.
Okay, Amanda, what about Michael? Does he have a favorite color?
Red.
Red.
Yeah, red.
Okay. We're gonna talk about kids now. So you know what they say about preachers' kids. Your kids are very well mannered. I see that you're bringing them. Yes, I see they well mannered when they need to be. Now, if they show out at home, so be it.
Yeah.
But like in the public, when they're in public, like your children are very well mannered. Just like my kid, he say yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. He very well mannered when he out in front of people
Yeah.
that that look at him. When he at home, now maybe something totally different. But for the most part, when I look at your children, I feel like you're raising them up. You're raising them up in church. You're teaching them what's right. You're providing a great example for them. So, how do you feel like church people look at your kids? Do they hold them to a different standard, just like they hold you kind of up there too? Like you and your wife.
I'm not sure if they hold them to a different standard. I know we do. And
Right.
a lot of times, the church folks will get on to us, telling
About-
us they just
They're
kids.
just kids.
And I'm like, yeah, but they know better, you know. And so,
I think they will when they get more like older, I guess, because I
Yeah.
hear around like we at church, that's Pastor so and so child. Why they acting like that,
Right, and they always say when we were kids, pastors' kids,
Yeah.
they the
Yeah.
worst
Worst.
kids.
They're the
I
worst
don't agree
kids.
with that.
Pastors' kids
Pastors'
and
kids
teachers'
are just
kids.
like everybody other kids. So
Yes.
like, what makes them any different? Like kids will be kids. So like when I hear that statement, like, are the preacher's kids supposed to be perfect? Because ain't nobody kids perfect. So
I think in an old school traditional black church, the pastor and the pastor's family, period, excuse me, on such a high pedestal,
Yeah.
everybody's supposed to be perfect. You're supposed to be the picture perfect. You're supposed to be the pinnacle of black society in that area.
but
In old school traditional
you know what
church.
you know what I've learned, and really and truly, I raise my kids like they're kids. I will be
you gotta
honest
be
with
kids.
you. A lot of kids, especially preachers' kids, have grown up in church, but they never understood the why. And so that's why they run or they act out or they don't want to fool with the church because they understand church and church business and how church folks act, but they never understand the why behind church. And so I raise my kids like kids, but eventually I want them to come to the realization of why we do what we do. And in order for them to receive salvation, because they have to come to that decision on their own too.
right. That's
And
true.
so, yeah, I hold my kids to a high standard, but it's because of the name that they wear. And like you said earlier, I want them to know that, like the Bible says, a great name is better to be desired than silver or gold. You got money, that's fine, but if you got a good name, it'll open more
That's
doors
right.
for you.
For you.
And so that's, I work hard to teach my kids the why behind church, so that when they do get older, they won't depart from church because they understand that it is about God. It's not just something we do. Oh, daddy, he preaching, or he got to do this, or he got no. Now we go to church because we love the Lord, and I need you to understand why we love the Lord.
Right.
It's because of Him that we live and move and have our being.
So now, have both of your children been baptized?
Both of my children have been baptized. It's not something that I've encouraged.
Right.
They have come to me on their own and
So that
said,
means you doing what you're supposed to be
when they
doing.
ask, can we get baptized? They always met with no the first time, because when I asked them why, it was like, I don't know, or so-and-so got baptized. I want to get baptized. No, until you understand why you want to be baptized, then you can't be baptized.
So let me ask you this. How old were you? Do you remember when you got baptized?
I was 5.
Were you made to get baptized? Or
I
did you
was.
ask? You was made?
I had no clue why.
And that is the conversation that I had with my dad before he passed away. And I asked him, I said, Daddy, I said, why did you not let me decide? Because I might have been 11 or 12, terrified of water for one thing. I cannot swim. And so I was like, why did you make me get baptized? Why did you not let that be my decision? Because my mother, she didn't say anything either way. It was my dad. And so he was just saying that if he could go back and do it over, he would have let it be my decision. I was surprised because my dad was one of the people like, he was never wrong,
Yeah.
he was always right. And so that was something that I wondered, because I didn't make my son get baptized. I let him decide when he was ready, because I just felt like that was the right thing to do. And so my dad, he was like, I didn't do everything right and I apologize. And so I just wanted to get an understanding as to like why. And I just feel like old school teachings
just
and
back then,
traditions and
Coming from my church, my home church is Pilgrim Rest Baptist Church.
Okay.
Back then, when I was coming up, it was status
Yeah.
of the neighbor, because Pilgrim Rest is a close community.
Yeah.
We all either family members or friends. It's it kind of feel weird to say, but it was more like which family is. It's more of a family. It's more of a like family power.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
who has the dominant or prominent family for this area, for that area, whatever. So it was more of a, peacocking.
Oh yeah.
More than anything.
Yeah.
It was, and I'm just gonna say it was more of a fashion show back then. It was a
Really?
fashion show. It was
Yeah.
more fashion than anything.
Church back in the day, y'all, it's
It was crazy. I mean, you go back and think about
It's
it.
different now.
Back in the day,
It is.
it was some like the dynamic of church back then was wild.
Well, that's why, and that's where the why comes from, you know, and that's why I say a lot of people have left the church, especially since the pandemic, and the ones who come back to church, they know why they go. You know, the ones who have left and never came back never knew why they went in the first place, and so because they had no reason and no why.
It was more of a, this is what I do, so you
Right.
gotta do it.
That's
You
right.
ain't got no choice. If I'm going, you going.
That's
Right.
And
And
you
mo-
know, I don't even parent like that. So, like, you know, back in the day, like, you can ask your mom and them why. Like, if I
Right,
tell my
right.
son no and he like, Mom, so why did you say no? I'll explain to
That's
him.
right.
I don't parent like how our parents
Just do as I
parented
say
back in
now.
the day.
That's
Like,
right.
do as I say. I don't do that because I try to lead by example. And so,
Yeah.
like, I don't get mad if my son, well, Mom, why do you say no? Or why can't I do this? Or why can't I do that? I give him a reason as to why. And, like, a lot of old school people, they're like, no, ma'am. If y'all say no, no
You
is
gonna
what I
do.
mean. But I don't parent my son
Right.
like that because I want to have that relationship to where he can ask me what he want to know.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of like, you know, how I parent.
True.
You too?
Sometimes it's the old school come out in me. If I say go do it, go do
But now,
it.
if I tell you to take the trash out, now you don't question me about taking the trash out. We're not doing that. But like stuff that I feel like he needs to understand. So if I say you can't go to the party or you can't go
Yeah.
here, or I'm telling you why I don't want you to go, so I don't
Yeah.
have a problem explaining that. So listen,
I do.
let me. This what I want to get to. So, do you do any marriage counseling?
We have before.
You have before. So let me ask you this. So I know people that are struggling in their marriages and they have chosen to live in separate households. Do you feel like you can work on a marriage in two separate households?
It depends on where you are in your marriage. If you are at that point where you can't stand to live together, then but you still want to work on it, then it's probably best that you work
So,
on it from two separate
Tell me this
households.
though. How can we work on it if we're not in the same house together?
Well, there are different dynamics to marriage counseling, and really and truly, you should never let it get to that point
To where you move out?
where you move out, because you know the Bible calls us one. We're one.
Right?
So that means when she hurts, you know, I ought to know it. When something's not right, I ought to know it, right? And when something's off with me, she ought to know it. And that's just that's how marriage is supposed to work. And so when there's a problem, you know, you can't just keep sweeping it under the rug, hoping that it will go away. You got to deal with it. And so that's where marriage counseling comes in. There's a lot of us that don't like telling our business to folks. And that's why a lot of times we run from counseling. We'll tell our mamas or our daddies or people that's close to us. But you really should seek professional counseling. Because you know how else are you going to get help? Especially when there's no mediator. You know, when you're two grown people, you know you grown, you married, you know, and you're stubborn, don't want to move from your spot. She doesn't want to move from her spot. You need somebody as a mediator who is not going to take sides,
Right.
but is actually going to effectively mediate marriage counseling sessions. We've done marriage counseling sessions before. I like to do marriage counseling with my wife. Even though she has not been called to preach, I include her in
She
the
got
sessions.
some good input because she's married to
Right,
you.
right. And
So-
she, you know, I don't want anybody to feel like I'm one-sided because I am a man. I have a good sense of temperature, and I know how to look at both perspectives. But I need them to trust me enough to look at both perspectives, and that's why I bring her with me quite a bit.
Yeah, y'all just a good little team, man. I'm telling you, when I look at y'all, it's like, I remember when y'all got married. I came to y'all's wedding. I remember when y'all got married, and it's just like,
I was still a kid.
y'all are just so like totally different now.
I used to hide him because he looked so
She was embarrassed by me. She was.
He did. He
was.
looked so
Well,
young.
I looked really young.
Yes,
then.
he did.
Yeah, but I just like I said, when I look at y'all, I feel like you guys are Black excellence. I feel like God really has his hand on you. Even when I listen to you preach and all of that, just the dynamic of your church, the way it works, the way that your kids are active. I even came that Sunday and your wife was playing the piano, baby.
Yeah.
And you sung up there. And I mean, y'all just have a great, the energy for you guys is really, really great. So yeah, I'm proud of y'all. I am. I know y'all done came a long way because we done came a long way. But we just wanted
Amen to
to we just wanted to have y'all on. I'm glad that y'all came and took the time to talk to us today because like a lot of people are struggling in their marriages with a lot of things and they're afraid to open their mouth and speak about it. Me, I'm vocal. If I'm struggling with something and somebody might be able to tell me something and I can learn from it, I'm always willing
And I was
to
thinking
listen.
about it. out of our friend group, it's only two of us as couples that's still married. You realize it?
Well, the friends that we have like together.
Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah,
Wow.
that's true.
Everybody else done got divorced.
Are they young couple
Yeah,
like
they
y'all?
age,
Yeah.
We
Same
don't
age as
even
us.
have any. We don't have any young couple friends.
Really?
They're all older.
Really?
I can't think about.
we like couple friends, but we actually cool with just us.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
I mean,
True.
but sometimes, you want to hang out.
Right.
Or,
Yeah.
you might want to go to dinner and talk to some other couples.
Right.
And, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But that ain't.
She get on me all the time. I'm cool with just
Lavert
sitting in
doesn't
the house.
have any
Yeah.
friends. Lavert doesn't
Not here in
have
Texarkana at
friends
all.
At
Yeah.
all. No.
And I'm from her.
Yeah.
I'm good.
That's
So-
Henry. That's
and most of
Henry,
the time
same
we
way.
hang out together.
Together.
So I can see how sometimes people get sick of each other because y'all be together all the time, except for when you're not at work.
Yeah.
And like I don't get sick of my husband.
After
but
you get sick
sometimes- No, I don't get sick of him, but
I'm pretty sure she do.
sometimes no.
pretty sure she do.
But sometimes I want to do stuff like because I have some friends. So like
Yeah.
I
She
might
go.
to
She can go to
with
dinner.
my
I'm
friends,
cool.
Yeah.
But
Me,
he's okay.
and Landon, we here chilling.
Yeah.
We're
that's
hanging
chilling.
out at home, but like me, I'm social.
Right.
I like to meet people and talk and interact with people and stuff like that. And my husband, he's just totally, different.
Anti.
Yeah, different. Like, and I'm gonna tell you something. That's why I know God got his hand on you. Because when we come to your church, if I say, babe, we're gonna go to Michael Church this morning, he get up, no problem whatsoever.
Really?
If we going anywhere else other than our church, and my son is the same way. So that's why I say I feel like God,
wow.
God, he got his hand on you, and I know he got his
Yeah,
hand
we
on
probably
you.
coming down there more.
I
Oh
know,
man,
yeah,
that's
yeah,
all right.
yeah,
You done made
yeah.
my day.
You listen, you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. So I just want to say thank y'all for coming on.
Thank you for
the
having
Church
Enjoyed
Podcast.
having y'all.
Oh,
And we
yeah.
enjoyed you guys, and we hope y'all will come back again.
Anytime.
course.
Anytime.
All right, thank y'all for tuning in. We'll
Thank
see y'all
y'all.
next
Have a
time.
good day.
Y'all did so good.